As you know, we have a lot of issues in Somalia. Problems related to human rights, um, refugee issues inside Somalia and outside Somalia, and really a staggering human suffering in Somalia. So a lot of these things is not new to you. But the question is, we had, 3 months ago, we had an evening on Somalia, and it was at that time that a number of my colleagues who are, as we call them, friends of Somalia, came to me and others and said that why don't we do something about this staggering problem in Somalia. These were students from American University, Georgetown, George Washington, and George Mason University. A couple of them were Somalis. And they said, why don't we do something about the problem in Somalia? This was the first time in my own experience that I have seen non-Somalis, young people, who really were interested in doing something about what's going on in Somalia. So, you know, the thing we can do then is just to make sure that we can harness their knowledge, their skills, their energy, and really, you know, we call them Friends of Somalia. So we organized this evening, an evening on Somalia. A couple congresspersons and their staff came. There was a presentation by Nick Dreher of American University, and he put together some slides. And the idea wasn't just to educate. There were a lot of non-Somalis in there as well. The idea was to educate the American public. The idea is to educate the American public to educate them about what's going on in Somalia, and at the same time, ask them to take some actions. And so those are actions that will help, as we believe, alleviate the problem. And so with that, you know, we established some programs around that. And it is called SaveSomaliaNow.org. It's very new. It is in its infancy stage, and it's nothing new to you all. But for those our guests who may not be aware of this, this was, you know, our kickoff was early July as a part of the Independence Week. So we're hoping that July of every year, and this is not something that I created or I own this. This is something that is for all people who are interested in this to be part of it. And we're hoping that to make July, the Independence Week, the Somali Humanitarian and Refugee Awareness Month. And we have, with that, there are, and we will continue to build the media packet. And we all need your input on that. We don't have all the answers. And with that, I'm just going to go over a couple quickly because I made it very short. And then I will go show you at the end some of the things that we are planning to do. So it is definitely a very poor country with a lot of suffering. Great majority of the people who are really experiencing the burden of the problem are in different parts of the country, and mostly in the rural area. And this is from the World Bank 2008 report. If you want to know more about that, you know, you can talk to Abdiya about that. And in terms of education, and this is the 2009 humanitarian report that Dr. Samatar yesterday alluded to when he talked about Human Development Index. And it's really, and this is one of the things we want to bring to your attention. And not the fact that there are so many people suffering, but the question here is that 8% of the population is suffering from acute malnutrition, 8%. And that is, you know, in the global, in the world, there is a threshold to this. And the threshold is 1% of a population. When a population have 1% of the people suffering from acute malnutrition, then that is totally crisis. And in Somalia, it's 8%. So it is a very serious matter. And with regard to refugees, when we know that there are refugee camps in Kenya, where it was camps that were built for 90 to 100,000 people now have so many more people in there. So 3 times of that, overcrowded, unlivable, and very difficult situation. And you all know about this. But remember, this message, this campaign, while it, Somalis are target population, the great majority of our primary target is American public, to know this. So the question is, what can we do? What can the Somali diaspora in the US do? I mean, right now we're focusing in the US. And what can the Friends of Somalia do? And with that, we came up with, and again, like I said earlier, this is in its development stage. It's an infant stage. And I challenge all of you to provide your input, really. Because a lot of the people who are involved in this campaign are non-Somalis, and we want to see Somalis to be part of this. And so the goal is to really create an awareness of the problem. And some of the strategies we developed is that we developed a campaign packets, templates. In that template, there is an advocacy letter, a letter that people can write to, use it, tweak it, send it to Congress. There's a fact sheet. There's a PowerPoint slide. There is a news release that you can use and put your own name, put your own organization's name, and send it out. You can do that. There is a public service announcements that are 10 seconds, 20, 30, 60 seconds. And those are intended for public radios, any news radio stations or public television stations where you can say, these are the PSAs we have. How can you really be part of this? So those are some of the things we developed. That's just a part of it. The idea, as I mentioned earlier, is to educate the American public, engage US Congress, and the third thing is that establish safe Somali student clubs in colleges. Right now, we have American University, George Washington University, American University, George Washington, George Mason, Drexel, DePaul, University of Michigan. What else am I missing? We had about 8 of them, so I'm missing 2 of them. So we have students who are working with us locally, who've connected, who spoke with their friends in different parts of the country and said, we want you to be part of this, and they're committed to them. So some of them said that, well, I'm already involved in other campaigns related to international issues, so maybe then we will adopt this as one of them. And some schools said that, okay, we're going to do this. Now, we were going to do this in the springtime, but we couldn't. The problem was there is a deadline that students have to submit or to request to establish student clubs. And so in the fall, as we all know, fall generally starts the middle of August. So by mid-September, you have to submit your applications in some of the schools that I already know about. So we don't have students from Ohio, Minnesota, who are willing to be part of this. And I hope that there will be some at the end of the day or in the near future. Again, another one is to establish partnership with agencies in the US and the UN, just to sort of like they are aware of what's going on, what we're doing, and what needs to be done. And also educate the media and foundations. Now, this is a very important piece here that you see here, and I'll tell you why. I'm also involved in the employee union for the state of Maryland because I work there. And so, as you know, we are in a budget crunch times, every state. And so the state has been cutting the employee benefits and so forth. And one of the things we did that I suggested was that why don't we, all of us, program governor's phone number in our cell phones and make sure that we call them every day so that we tell them what the problems are. Don't cut employee benefits, don't cut, no furloughs, no layoffs, what have you, tax corporations, because Maryland, corporations don't pay taxes. So those kind of things. So I'm asking all of you, how many of you have cell phones? Can you raise your hand? Okay, some of you didn't raise your hands. Does that mean you don't have a cell phone? I can't hook you up with that. Okay, the idea is you program that number in there on your cell phone, 224-3121. You call that number, and this is all takes less than 1 minute, at most 1 minute. I've did it many times. You call that number, it goes to the switchboard of the US Congress. Someone will answer the phone and will say to you immediately, they will answer right away. And they will ask you, who do you want to speak with? And then you tell them, I want to speak to my senator. You don't have to know the name of the senator. You can say, I'm from Ohio. I want to talk to one of my senators. You can give them your zip code. Then they'll find you the congressperson from your zip code. And then they link you to that person. Someone will answer, and the phone rings in the Congress's office. Very smooth, very quickly. Then you say whatever you wanted to say. You don't have to use things we wrote or suggest. Okay? So the process is very short, quick. We have a banner outside. It has the phone number. I didn't bring the bumper stickers, but that's another thing we'll do in next thing. So like I said, you call. Every zip code is 5. But in order to know, there are also another 4 digits that follow the zip code, and that tells you specifically where your Congress is. But it doesn't matter. You just give them your zip code. Then they tell you the Congress in that area. Tell them, please do something about what's going on in Somalia. It's a worst humanitarian crisis, including Darfur, according to UN reports and other reports. Please do something. So you can say that. It's very easy. It takes 2 minutes. You don't have to use what we write it down. You can just make your own statements and talk to them. It's very important that they know what's going on. And I would also suggest that we engage other friends and folks that we know, Somalis or non-Somalis, to be part of this. We need to really educate them about what's going on. Don't do it for this organization. Don't do it for us. If you want to be a partner of this, I know some of the Ohio organizations here would like to be part of this because they see the suffering of this. And I'm sure many of you would be part of it. So please come on, lead us. We'll follow you. So, and these are the target groups, universities, foundations, NGOs, those kind of stuff. So, if you are interested in, please let us know. There are sheets, not all the tables, but there are sheets. We ask people if they want to get a text message alert. We're not going to call you. We already have about 150 text messages, cell phone numbers that people gave us, and who said, give us the alerts, alert us when there's something going on. And then we have a company that we're dealing with who will send them mass text messages. So we'll do that. Our website should be ready in 2 weeks, and it's all volunteer basis, as you know, and generally that takes a lot of time. But once you go to our website, you'll be able to submit a letter to Congress from the website. You'll be able to download all the information you want to from there. And if you have any ideas of how to improve these materials, the approach, the strategy, by all means, please share with us. And again, I'm emphasizing this. This is something we all need to work on. There are a lot of people here who have ability to contribute to this. And I think, take your time, think about it, and let us know. Any questions? Can we have the lights on? Thank you. Yes, welcome.
Okay, do I need a bit? Okay, and thanks, Ahmed. I think this is the great initiative you took, and a lot of people also doing the same thing with a different. So my question is, what is the problems of Somalis not coming together and do? I know it's okay, everybody take initiative and do his own way. But you doing the same thing, it might be somebody else who sit in this table does. What is the problem? Why they not coming together? Since I think it's more easy, more quick, because there's a lot of, the mind is the different people putting together different ideas. It's rather than one person just thinking his own. So why not that, coming together the Somalis? What is the problem? I know as a Somali person, there's a lot problems out there, a lot of people trying to solve it. Why not there's organizations not coming together and try to break down this easy way to go to the congressman and to hold the accountability? Because they sit in there behalf of us, not anybody else. Thank you.
That is a very long and, I mean, very good question. And the best answer I can give it to you is that there is a lot of reasons why Somali community are not coming together. It is something that we all need to work on. I don't think the problem is only the organizations themselves. Sometimes they might not be informed well. There is, you know, I hate to say it, but some people may believe that someone is gaining something out of this, and so they don't want to be supporting these, you know, initiatives. But, you know, that's always expected. It's not something unique to Somalis. It's something you can find from many community groups, that there will be some people who would have some sort of, you know, question about it, and even not be able to say something positive about what people are doing. But the idea is those who think alike to come together and to work together. And you know, personally, over the years, I've worked with people like Guled and others, and, you know, we came together, we did what we had to do, and, you know, sometimes we can't bite off more than we can chew. And so that's the approach I would take, is that identify people who are well-informed, who want to be part of this, and work with them. And hopefully the rest would follow. That's my best answer. Might not be satisfactory.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thanks for presenting this. My question is probably along the same lines I'm going to build on, but not really us coming together here. But taking a step back and thinking about the humanitarian crisis in Somalia is a man-made crisis, and mostly Somali-made crisis. So I appreciate we are all running around now trying to tell everybody, whether it's in Canada, here, in Europe, that there is a humanitarian crisis, but when are we going to talk about the political answer to this? Because this humanitarian crisis happened because of the political crisis and vacuum of leadership that we have. And everybody knows this. So can we, as we are getting organized in initiatives like the Save Somalia work that you're doing, and many Somali Cause and many other groups that are doing various things, I think if we have any sway with the people back home, as Somalis who are here, who can actually feel like they're a little bit distant from the crisis and can think clearly, what is going on in Somalia needs political solution and leadership to take that political solution and make it work. So can we, instead of just running around with humanitarian crisis, speak about the underlying causes of the humanitarian crisis and think through and put some concrete ideas of what is the political solution going to be? Because unless we get that, 25 years of civil war based on political unsettling situation needs political situation resolved, comprehensive political resolution before we can even speak to, because it's not even peaceful. If we get all the NGOs that are listed in your slide to say, here is humanitarian help, take it, we can't even secure that to reach the displaced people, internally displaced people.
Ahmed, before you answer it in the context of Somali youth that are here today, that are watching this program. So answer it in that context. What can they do in light of her question?
Well, I mean, this is a very complex question, and I kind of agree with what she's saying, that if you don't have a political solution, then the rest might not work. But I can tell you, what I know about what goes on in countries where there is a lot of conflicts and so forth. There has been ways to address those issues in terms of just making, working with the warring factions. Not necessarily Somalia, but in the rest of the world, and in different parts of Africa, whether it's in Sudan or West Africa or other parts in Asia, there has been situations where warring factions have agreed and gave a safe path to humanitarian causes and initiatives where they agree that they will support those things. And so I think that would be one step to immediately do that. And that is work with the faction, warring groups, and come up with a way they can agree that humanitarian should have a safe path. That's one way that other countries have done that, and there's a lot of literature on that as well. The question about the youth, as I've mentioned it to you, the issue of political issue is very important, but I know that when we started our nonprofit in Maryland, Guled was here, we had a lot of discussions about, because this was post 9/11, and people wanted to do a political advocacy group organization. And we had a long discussion about that, and involving Somalia and what goes on in this country. And we all agreed, and Guled will recall this quite well, we all agreed that we're going to stay away from the political issues, and whether it's in Somalia or in the United States. But remember, this initiative is not a political issue, it's a humanitarian issue. So we stayed away from the political issues because it's a very divisive issue, and it's just something very messy, and we thought that would derail our purpose, which is serving the people here and now. And so that was the best way we could approach. Yes, political issue is very important, but at this moment we'll leave that someone else address it. Thank you, guys. May I say something quickly? Yes. I just want to thank for people who are here today. I know there is a lot of other things you can do on your Saturday morning, and the weather is nice. But I want to also thank the people who planned this conference, and a lot of work went in there. A lot of young people really showed their commitment, their sacrifice, and really, really did a great job. So many of them are here, and just recognize that this was a youth-led conference. Thank you.